Nazir.
Hey, hi Nazir. Thanks for joining. Good morning.
Simon, we can wait for 1 or 2 minutes, then we can start.
Excellent. Yeah.
I'm seeing many participants are there joining, so I'm just admitting. 1 or 2 minutes.
You are admin today, Suresh.
Hi, Al. Hi, Simon.
Hi. Yeah, should we get going? You want to? Who's going to start?
Yes, we can start, Simon. Anyway,
You want me to make the first introductions?
Yes, we'll start our introduction.
Okay.
Hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Suresh Loganathan and Amarjit Paul. We are organizing our first virtual meetup with our different niche skill from ServiceNow that is called security operation. Thanks for joining and thanks for your interest for participating this session. I hope it is a wonderful session for you. So we will start our session. So who are all going to join? I will admit it everyone in this session. So can you please move it to the next slide, Simon? So agenda of this session, what we planned here is, this is our agenda. Host and speaker introduction is 5 minutes, and guest our introduction also 5 minutes. Security operation introduction, it's a 15 minutes. That means we are going to cover what is security associated into the service now, etc. Next is instance demo and everything we are going to see directly in the screen, and your valuable questions will be answered by Simon. So I hope it will be enjoyable for you. So this is our overall agenda, and the next host introduction. Yes, this is there are two hosts, myself and Amarjit Pal. So my name is Suresh Loganathan, based out of UK. I got a 3 times consecutive Rising Star Award, and I'm a forum speaker specifically in ServiceNow. I have created a number of articles and published in ServiceNow also, and I'm a community enthusiast, always open and always active in the community to answer your queries. Over, Amarjit.
Thank you, Suresh. Thank you for that. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining, everyone. And this is Amarjit Pal. So, as Suresh said, this is our first chapter of ServiceNow Developer Meetup, virtual basically it is. And for sure, we will start, in person as well. Basically in London or UK, the whole UK, we are targeting it. And as Suresh said, it is a niche, you can say a topic, security operations. So we are targeting on these topics, where people have very less knowledge about it, or people have, like, there are very dedicated resources who are having this knowledge. So that's the motto of this developer meetup. and I'm a platform architect. I'm also based out of UK, and I'm a ServiceNow enthusiast. I do write articles on ServiceNow communities. I mostly focus on customer service management and hardware asset management on community, but specifically I am aware of a lot of modules in ServiceNow. I have worked on GRC, security operations. So right now, currently, I'm working on CSM and domain operations. Yeah, Suresh and I, we were the World Forum London speakers. So being a community member, you get a opportunity to speak in the Creator Con session. If people were from different parts of world, like where the World Forum was held, you might have seen a section of Creator Con where rising stars and MVPs were speaking. So we got that opportunity to speak on the any topic related to Gen AI or whatever the things you have built. And recently, I've started a session like a YouTube session. It's a live session where it's like what do you say, service now YouTuber. So basically, I come up with the people who are very much involved into their work life, all into their personal commitments, and they don't come out like us, as a service now community member or like this. So I do target such kind of people who have lot of knowledge about service now, but they don't because of their personal commitments, family issues, they don't come out like us. So I do talk with them a lot on this topic, and this is all about me. Thank you, Suresh. Let's go to Simon. Next slide.
So this is a guest speaker. Over to you, Simon.
Right, thanks. Well, thanks very much. It's honour to be here. My background is possibly slightly different from a lot of people in the ServiceNow ecosystem. I actually come from a background in journalism and marketing. First sort of introduced to security operations, cybersecurity, about 20 years ago when I'm in New Zealand, and at that stage I was technology editor for the New Zealand Herald. Back then, certainly cybersecurity, SecOps was as much, I would say almost as much as of an issue as it is today. So just sort of fast forward a bit, I've been involved in ServiceNow for about 5 years, working with partners. Actually, again, starting more from the marketing side, just helping partners with their marketing. But these days, the other half of my role is working for a partner, N2, which is just a small, relatively new startup comprising entirely of freelancers. So we're all over the world, and we just kind of get together on projects, get the best resources for any particular job that we need. And I've just sort of, as I say, following my sort of fairly long-term interest in SecOps, I've sort of picked up the certifications and made that a bit of a specialty. And just recently have been writing for SC Magazine, SC Media in the US, which is a specialist publisher in cybersecurity. So yeah, so very happy to sort of dive in and talk about SecOps on ServiceNow. And I guess this presentation is pretty much aimed at ServiceNow professionals who obviously sort of know the Now platform pretty well, but may not be familiar with SecOps. So this is really sort of a 101 level SecOps introduction, I guess, and obviously we can kind of dive a bit deeper after that if people have questions on any particular areas. But just really wanted to sort of give you my perspective of a sort of an overview of what ServiceNow can offer in security operations. So just first off, taking a step back, what is SecOps and why is it important? And these figures are constantly changing. They're probably out of date, but just to really sort of give you some, I guess, sort of a helicopter view about where we're at with security, particularly in the enterprise space. Third-party risk is a big issue. It's not just, you don't have to just take care of your own organisation, but a large percentage of threats and compromises come from the third parties that you deal with, and the cloud obviously becoming increasingly dominant. Cloud-based breaches are a real big issue out there. And these issues, when you have a security breach, when you lose data or your systems go down or whatever, there's a real expense, and that can not surprisingly be passed on to your customers. So there's real costs there. All sorts of different ways that security can be breached. Obviously, stolen, compromised credentials. There's a huge industry out there of cyber criminals who are, buying and selling credentials. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. Related to that, phishing. That's how they get credentials, and that's also how they get into your systems. Anyone who's in a sort of an admin role will be hopefully very aware at how precious their username and password is, because if a cyber criminal can get access to admin credentials, that's gold to them, because that obviously gives them huge access to whichever system they're seeking access to. And yeah, again, cloud misconfigurations are a big problem. It's so easy to. I'm not a cloud engineer, but it's so easy to misconfigure things when you set things up. And ransomware, I'm sure people are aware of that. Big issue. Corporates being held to ransom for millions of dollars. Cyber criminals come in, get control of your system, lock you out, and or steal the data, and then demand tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars even for it to be returned. And this is certainly, cybersecurity is not something that you sort of get hit by once and then that's it. It's see here, according to this figure, 83% of organisations have been hit more than once. And the reality is, if you're a cyber criminal, or if you're an organisation that's been attacked by a ransomware gang, there's no reason why they're not going to come back after you've paid them the $1 million. There's no reason why they're not going to come back and ask for another $1 million. So it's not a sort of a once and done game. You've got to be totally prepared and take every step to protect yourself, even if you've been hit once. Unfortunately, having said that, obviously here's a fairly high percentage of organisations that are not sophisticated in their hardening of their systems at an early stage of implementing SecOps, and obviously these attacks are happening all the time, every 11 seconds, according to this data. And just looking a bit more at the numbers, financial numbers around these attacks. The short story here is that an attack will easily cost an organisation $millions of dollars, whether it's in lost revenue recovery, And then there's the intangible costs as well, such as lost goodwill. If customers are obviously going to be less likely to trust you with their data and their business if you've proven that you're vulnerable to attacks and their credentials being stolen. This is quite a concerning figure as well. 9 months, the average time to identify and contain a breach. During that time, the cyber criminals, who knows what they're up to, but they've got plenty of time to get into your system and potentially sort of move laterally across it, get access to other aspects of the organisation that the security people may not be aware of. So so sort of time is money in that regard. That every month that goes by, the potential cost at the end of the day is likely to be going up. And looking at the vulnerability side of SecOps, so vulnerability, known security flaw or weakness that can be exploited. So these are not the actual attacks. This is the potential that's out there, and literally thousands and thousands of these things. As again, because cybercrime is big business. Finding for the criminals, finding an effective new vulnerability is big money. So they're constantly looking for new ways to get into organisations. Having said that, there's obviously also a very active SecOps ecosystem out there that's fighting back against this, and that's expressed one way through the constant churn of patches as these vulnerabilities are discovered, and the software vendors or whoever react to that and fix them, close these gaps. But unfortunately, as I'm sure everyone here is aware, easier said than done, because finding the time and the resources to actually implement these patches is a huge challenge for organisations. And the fact that 60% of patches are not applied tells a real story. Life would be much easier if everything was patched. Even without that, it's bad enough. Potential organisations putting a disadvantage in responding to. And the other thing about security operations is it's a huge volume game. There's so many patches, there's so many vulnerabilities, and each vulnerability could be sort of manifested in thousands of attacks on a single organisation. So automating processes is vital. That's including your patch management. Organisations that automate patch management are probably sort of getting above this 60% number. And obviously, it's expensive. However, although I guess if you look at that $1.4 million figure, it's less than these figures that we see for the cost of an actual attack. So, and so there are thousands of new vulnerabilities being discovered every quarter. And yes, and testing, another aspect that perhaps again, lack of resources, both financial and human, holding that back. So the security operations ecosystem is a vast one. A lot of organisations doing a lot of stuff. This is just a very small snapshot. This is by no means, there's literally thousands of SecOps vendors out there, but this just sort of gives us an overview of the types of work that's required, and also how ServiceNow sort of fits into this. So we've got access control, responding to incidents, dealing with malware, network security on its own, etc. And governance, risk and compliance being a sort of adjacent discipline here. But what you will notice here is that ServiceNow isn't professing to be a master of all of these different disciplines across SecOps, and I'll move on to that in a moment. But it's basically no organisation, no vendor can do everything. It's a case of relying on integrations to get the best result. But what ServiceNow are doing, this just sort of sets out the various applications that they have, and basically two ways of looking at two main focuses for SecOps. You've got the response to vulnerabilities. As we've talked a bit about vulnerabilities already, and then responding to incidents. So the vulnerabilities are the issues that are potentially out there that could affect you as an organisation, and incidents are when it actually happens. The things you actually have to respond to. Because if there's a phishing attack or a virus in your system, and so many of you are probably aware, two main applications in SecOps for ServiceNow is vulnerability response and security incident response. But the portfolio is actually quite a bit broader than that. But those are the two. For example, those are two main certifications that you get, VR and SIR for implementation. But there's quite a little bit more to it than that. On the vulnerability side, as well as sort of standard infrastructure vulnerabilities, there's also application specifically focused on application vulnerabilities and cloud vulnerabilities, because those are the three, infrastructure, application and cloud, are quite distinct disciplines. So they are sort of broken out into separate applications, and also operational technology, anything to do with devices out there, IoT. Again, that's sort of a slightly different specialised approach. So ServiceNow has sort of specialist functionality for that. Whereas on the incident response side, we have threat intelligence is the sort of gathering of the intel that helps you deal with these incidents, is one aspect. Major security incident is a separate application. And we'll take a look at that a bit later on as well. But, when you find yourself under attack from a major ransomware attack, say, and you really need everyone to be on the same page and sort of work your way through resolving that and keeping yourself in business. Threat Intelligence Security Center is the newest offering that ServiceNow has put out. I think it was became generally available earlier this year, and that is a specific application for your so-called threat hunters, who are the ones who are proactively looking for these threats and building up the intel to deal with them. And of course, Gen AI, we've as across the ServiceNow platform, we've got increasingly AI built into some of the capabilities, and particularly it's very useful for incident summarization is one way that it's sort of currently used within SecOps. But, again, I'll try and do a bit of a demo on that. So, looking specifically at vulnerability response, first of all, and there's no need to kind of dive too deeply into this slide. It's really just to, for these purposes, just to sort of give you a general look at sort of how the system works and how it sort of integrates with other solutions. And the big one here is we have separate vendors who provide scanners. So they're experts at providing the solutions that will scan your system for vulnerabilities. I mean, that's and that will feed into ServiceNow's vulnerability response. So as I said, ServiceNow doesn't profess to sort of be a sort of a one-stop everything for everyone security operations solution. They will quite happily take the best of the sort of the partner solutions that are out there and use those. But at the same time, what ServiceNow wants to be is sort of the SecOps platform that is at the heart of your security operations. So it takes the scans and then figures out what to do with that information, basically prioritizing threats, and then of course automating responses being a big one. As I say, given that we can be talking huge volumes of incidents or vulnerabilities that need to be dealt with. So as I say, I won't go into a huge amount of detail there, but it's a similar thing on the security incident response side. Again, it's about having good inputs and good sort of automated flows right through to the sort of the post-incident review situation. And I will point out that CMDB, obviously, I think across all aspects of ServiceNow, I think over the past few years, ServiceNow have increasingly been saying, look, it's all about maturing your CMDB, and that's certainly the case with SecOps. The more mature with your CMDB is, the more the easier it is to sort of to rest assured that you've got a sort of a hardened platform, because obviously the more you know about what's in your platform, what's in your network, in your CMDB, the more you can understand what the impact of these threats is going to be, and what it's going to impact, how it's going to sort of work up the chain.
Simon, quick time check. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, sure. Yep. How we going? Yep.
We have next to 30 minutes. Yeah.
I'll hurry things along. Yeah. So people who uses SecOps. Obviously, you've got your analysts, and who are at the coalface of sort of keeping on top of vulnerabilities, etc. Then your managers, but also IT. There's a great involvement with, as far as remediating these issues. IT have got a big role to play there, and then right up to the C-suite, your chief information security officer, and your CIO. So ServiceNow provides sort of dashboards and workspaces for all of those groups. So yeah, look, let's dive into, first of all, let's have a look at vulnerability response. Let me change screens here. Okay, so like most of ServiceNow, it's SecOps has moved very much to the workspace model, and the vulnerability manager workspace is sort of the natural home for the threat analyst, that type of person who's really sort of trying to keep an eye on what's going on across the organisation. Bear with me while I pull up my notes. So yeah, so the vulnerability management workspace allows good oversight of the of what's going on from a sort of a wider SecOps perspective. And again, it's sort of, as I mentioned, container and application vulnerabilities are broken out here. We have this is broken down into watch topics, which are a useful way of just distinguishing different types of vulnerabilities, just making it more accessible. Again, you can so if you're charged with keeping an eye on high-risk finance apps across your organisation, you'll obviously, this is where you'll want to be spending your time. No, that's all right. So what, from a vulnerability response perspective, it's really remediation is really what this is all about. You have your vulnerabilities and you need automated processes to remediate them. So we also have where IT comes in. We have the IT remediation workspace. And obviously, there's if your organisation is both sort of ITSM uses ServiceNow for ITSM there's obviously this natural fit there. The whole concept of a single platform makes life much easier. Less chair swiveling and all that sort of thing. Not to mention the likes of IT asset management as well. Obviously, if everything's, the more aspects of your organisation that are sort of on the single platform, the better. But if we just and also those of you who sort of, I'm sure a lot of you are very familiar with ITSM. There's a lot of similarities with how a security incident obviously is just a type of incident. So you'd probably find these workspaces and the whole workflow to be quite familiar. If we sort of dive into one of them here. This is a remediation task. It's been progressed, so we sort of have the quite familiar, I think, sort of layout of overview of the task, and then details, work notes, activity stream, etc. And look, I just being aware of time, I will move on. We'll just take a look at the security incident management workspace. ServiceNow do say that typically they see a 40 to 60% reduction in time to solve security incidents when converting from more manual disparate processes to the sort of the automation and integration that you can get with ServiceNow. So that's just the sort of numbers that we're talking about. So if we look at, if you're a security analyst who's using the SIR workspace, you can you've got your list of your active incidents that you're working on in your groups, etc. And all based on priority amongst other fields. I mentioned, I'll see if I can show you Now Assist, the Gen AI capability in action. All right, here we go. So we've got an incident, and the analyst will be presented with a lot of detail, a lot of information. In this case, we've got suspected phishing attack. So we'll have a long activity stream of what's been done so far. So it's obviously very handy if we can get a quick summary, and that's where Now Assist is useful. We simply sort of hit the summarization button here, and GenAI sort of produces a succinct summary of what this is all about, just based on all the notes and data in the system. So it tells us who the affected parties are, what the suspicious email addresses, etc. And that can be transferred into the when you close the incident. GAI can also produce a summarization record as well. Now, the other I mentioned before, major security incidents, and so when your organisation is faced with something serious like a ransomware attack or something that really has huge business impact, you have this ability, again, like a not dissimilar to a sort of a major incident in ITSM, to set up a major security incident, so you can get the entire organisation sort of focused on it, or at least all those people who need to be involved. So from the security incident, you can simply those with the right credentials can create or put forward, propose a major security incident, and then we have the separate application that handles that.
Simon, in next 15 minutes the call is going to end. We are going to close for the 1 hour. So can we give a Q&A for this 10 minutes?
Yeah, sure. I'll just quickly rattle through this and then sort of open it up for questions. So major security incident, and I love this, that the demo data has got Bill McDermott, CEO, is actually an incident manager here. But yeah, this brings together collaboration tools. So it automatically sets up some SharePoint folders, so that everyone who could possibly be involved in this can be brought in. Plus, we've got our overview of the incident. Tasks that are assigned to everyone who's called in. You switch between a Kanban and a list view. And there's also, it's not actually on this instance, but there's also ability to internally within the platform to set up team meetings and that sort of video calls that are recorded within the incident. So say a useful app for keeping everything in one place. But look, with that, I'm just aware of time. So shall we open up for questions?
Yes. It was great one. Like I was so happy to see everywhere workspaces, and I feel that is the future, Simon. And security incident like SecOps is using that. We are encouraging in our company as well to everyone to use service operations workspace, CSM workspace, because we are domain separated, and we want everyone, in our instance, everyone has to use this domain picker. but because of workspaces, you don't have to flicker about in the domains basically. So that's the future I feel, and I was so happy to see everywhere you were jumping from one workspaces to another workspaces. Really, it was great. Thank you, Simon.
Yeah, it's certainly in the SecOps space. With if you're an analyst, you're dealing with so many different inputs. You've got your threat intel coming in from different feeds. So the less swivel chairing you can do, the better.
So, Simon, normally when we are starting a SecOps, everyone have a basic question. How we need to start? How I need to understand the SecOps is important to my organization or not? How to identify it? How to recommend to the customer? This is a very basic question normally everyone will have.
Yes, yeah, and actually, I was on a call not too long ago with a CIO who said he couldn't get his board of his organisation to appreciate why it needed to make the investment in SecOps, which seems crazy to me. I guess so, particularly because I've kind of been following the news quite closely about about cybersecurity for years. It's kind of sort of second nature to me. Every day I'm reading about some different attack where it can literally be millions of records are stolen, or a multi-million-dollar worth of damage is done to an organisation. But so that's I think it's a case you just have to make sure that the decision makers get a reality check. I think that I guess, and everyone sort of wants money, don't they, across the organisation. But I think you just need to make sure that they're aware that this is happening. And it's just a matter of when, not if. And I probably one thing, if you can point to a news article about one of their competitors showing that they've suffered a major attack in the last couple of years, that's probably quite a powerful thing to do. But
Yep.
yeah,
We are getting a question from our also, like, can you speak about DLP, data loss protection?
Prevention protection.
Yeah. Well, that's a big part of it, I guess. Perhaps, yeah. Look, it might, without anything more specific about what to sort of talk about there, I'm not quite sure, but certainly that is that's a big part of it. This whether it's through access management or something malicious. Yeah, I mean that certainly is a big issue. To be honest, we probably need a sort of another webinar to get into that in too much detail. Sorry.
It's altogether a different module, we can say. Yeah, Nazir, it's like how we configure it. If you have all this configuration, what you're pinging, then we can configure it. Mahati, yeah, what's the question?
Thank you, Simon. It was a great session. Thanks, Amarjit and Suresh, for organizing. I had a question around this. Say, for example, there's a tool like Qualys and you want to integrate it to ServiceNow. And do we have to think about the maturity of the CMDB first, or are we ready to integrate it at any point in time? So when are we kind of ready to go with that integration? So that was my question.
Yeah, certainly. As I say, I think the common wisdom is, the more mature your CMDB is, the better. But also the other wisdom is it's better to start today. It's sort of like, best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. And I guess the same with CMDB. So certainly, I think don't let any sort of fear that the CMDB isn't mature enough hold you up. I think, take it as an opportunity. If you feel your CMDB isn't mature enough, but you also feel your SecOps isn't mature enough, then think of it as an opportunity to grow both of them at the same time. I think is probably the best way to look at it.
Yes, I mean, just to add one point here. Recently, I attended a session of ServiceNow. It was related to client perspective. So there was a person, like he was an expert in CMDB. So he gave a very good example of CMDB. Let's say car is an instance or ServiceNow instance, and fuel is CMDB. Once you buy the car, it's very important to always check the fuel. Whether you have the fuel or not, and it's always whenever you are driving, we always do check, oh, fuel is there or not, so something like, as you said, we need to mature the CMDB as much as we can. We cannot go to that perfect level, but always maturing is the work around.
Yeah, and certainly it's as I say, I think the message I've kind of picked up from ServiceNow over the last couple of years is they're really trying to push that, how important maturing or focusing on trying to mature the CMDB is, because obviously it's it's for ITSM, for ITOM, everything. You just, the more you know about what's out there, the better, and how it's relates to everything. What your service mapping looks like.
Yeah, completely agree with you.
Yeah, so last we have 2 more minutes. So sorry, we started the session very initial. So that session, when it is started, it is calculating as a time, so 1 hour. So 10 minutes early we started. So anyway, 1 minute it is going to close. Thank you so much for your time, Simon. It's very helpful for us. So at least the high level information, what we need to focus in the security operations side, where we need to focus in the vulnerability and security incident response area, we got little idea. So better we can plan for our one more meeting based on everyone's availability, so to discuss more related to SIR and BR in ServiceNow SecOps. I know it's a very untime for you, but you joined that call and you engaged our participants and you provided your useful inputs. Thank you so much. Thanks for your time for this weekend also. Once again, we will meet in future session. Over to you, Amar.
Yeah. Thank you, Simon. I will just complete by saying I really liked the incident manager. It was the incident manager, what we can see right now, Bill. So that's a game changer for me to see in the demo instance. Thank you, Simon. And I know, yeah, I work with a New Zealand person, Kiwi guy, so I know how hard it is to, it's right now maybe 10, 11 right now there. Thanks for joining, Simon. Yeah, I know. Around 11.
Oh.